Okay, this is YouTube streaming, simple, fast, and free. So we'll go through all the different things of setting up a channel for YouTube, some of the equipment, some of the apps, and that kind of stuff. My name is Andrew Carlson. I work at Norris High School in Perth, Nebraska. By day, I'm an art teacher, but I love technology and I get sucked into some of this stuff.
Yeah, my name's Scott Harrington. I also teach at Norris High School, and I'm a social studies teacher by day and also a very big tech advocate and enthusiast. And Drew's nice enough to set a lot of this up, and I also coach girls basketball, and so I use this with our girls basketball program. So he's really going to be good at the technical stuff, and I can help on how easy it is to use.
We started streaming video many years ago. Norris, kind of tech coordinator, he set up the streaming server probably in 2002 or so, and things have changed a lot. YouTube has definitely made it a lot simpler. And most of the things we use this for is athletics. It's streaming sports and games on the internet. So there's two different types of channels you can have, or accounts you can have. You can have an individual Google account, or you can have what they call branding. Typically you always go with a branding account because you can have multiple users manage that account. You can do the same thing with the individual account, but only you can manage it. You can't share that management with other people. You can also, individual accounts can be switched to branded accounts at any time through the advanced account settings. It's a little bit, Google's a little bit weird, YouTube's a little bit weird. It seems like they're always changing things and poking things here and there. A lot of times it's a lot of digging and trying to find out where everything is to make it work, but it can be switched. So I'll go through just some screenshots. Depending on how fast we go through this, we may actually set up an account right here today, or a new channel basically, but we'll see how it goes. Creating your YouTube channel, you obviously go to YouTube, and at the top there's your user icon. You'll click on that and you go down to the gear, and then if you have more than one channel, you'll see all your channels. But at the bottom there's a thing that says view all for that account, or if you just click on the gear, it'll open up it'll open up this page, and you'll set up you'll have this link. Let's see, it'll say to set up a new channel, and then that will send you to this page. This is basically your channel switcher, and you'll see all your different channels on this page. If you already have a Google Plus account, say you have a school that you created a Google Plus page, and they've changed that a little bit too. But you may have some branded accounts already, so you can create a channel right from that branded account, or you can start from a new channel and create a new brand, basically. And once you make the account, it's there, or the channel, it's there, and now we're just going to go through a lot of settings and different things. You don't have to change everything, but there's a lot of poking around and finding different things that you can switch and change. A lot of it's maybe what country you're in or language that is by default. Maybe it's a time zone or little things like that that can make a little bit of difference here and there. But overall, if you didn't change anything, you could still do it. So after you click on that gear, you'll see some things. You can hide things from people. If you don't want them to see your liked videos, you can hide that under the brand. Any subscriptions you can hide, and playlists you can also hide. I typically keep the playlists public because that's what we do to sort by year. We'll make a playlist, and then all those games from that year will go in the playlist. And then I like to customize the layout of the channel, and that way I can put what I want on my channel homepage. I can say, you know, upcoming live streams are top of the list, and a playlist maybe below that, things like that. You'll hit save at this point, but you will come back to this to come to advanced settings. So we'll go ahead, we would hit save here. But then we'd come back to that there, and we'd hit this advanced settings. Now this advanced settings, there's lots of little things, like country, but by default it wasn't United States, so you want to change that. Do you want to have advertisements on your video? Yes or no? You usually click off no, and things like that. Keywords. You can associate a website with your channel, so you can put what they call cards on a video at the beginning of your video, and then people would click on the card to take you to an associated website. It has to be approved. It can't just be any website. Now the first thing you want to do before you can do any kind of streaming is you have to enable the streaming. So you'll go to this tab over here on the side. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it says channel, and then status and features. And one of the first things you want to do here is enable streaming right here. And what you need to do is you need to have basically, it'll call you or text you a code, and you'll put in the code to enable the streaming. You can only do, we've set up lots of channels. You can only do, I think, 4 channels a year is what I've read. I tried to dig and find a little bit of information on that, but I think I found that you can do 4 channels a year. And I had maxed out my 4 channels, and so I get my tech coordinator to do a few, or a coach to do a few, or whatever, to enable the streaming. So basically you'll get this pop-up to enable it. You'll put your cell phone number in there, and then you'll put the code in. You'll get a thing back that says, congratulations, your account's now verified, and you'll continue. More channel settings. These are kind of the upload defaults. Now you wouldn't have to change these because these are things that when you upload a video, they're things that are on there by default, but they're things you can go ahead and change. A channel can also be used just to upload videos that you have. Doesn't have to be just used for streaming.
How was the channel different than your account?
What's that?
How was the channel different than the account? That was the same.
It's almost like a sub account. Like I have 2 channels on mine. So like I have like my social studies stuff, and then I have girls basketball. So like if you go in the top right corner of YouTube, you click your little icon there, and it'll list your channel options. So it's just basically, you can just separate according like that.
Yeah. So you have a user, you know, probably most of you are Google users. You have a user account, and then this is a brand, we call it. It's kind of a, you know, in multiple people, say we have a brand that's called Norris High School, and it's on like a Google Plus page, but we can have a channel tied to that.
I would also suggest having that master user account not being tied to a specific teacher. So that way, obviously, you have all of your channel accounts going to this user. You don't want that teacher to retire or move on. So set up a generic Google account and have them own all these channels for your school. Now, if you're an individual teacher and just want to use it for, you know, streaming your own little events, then it's probably not as big of an issue. But as Drew mentioned, those channels are almost kind of like different landing pages that you create for different venues. And I'm sure he'll mention later that then your patrons can subscribe to those channels.
Right.
So as you start to stream, then they're going to get notification, oh, there's a venue. But definitely set that up on a generic account.
Right, and I'm an art teacher, but I also manage our website. So I have another account, another Google account. It's for our webmaster, and I've set up all those accounts with that email address or that user. And if I left the district, that would be passed on to the next webmaster. But I can manage my personal account. I can still manage all these channels because I've given that permission out. I've given Scott permission to the girls basketball channel. I've given, you know, the boys basketball coach permissions to his channel. So it's a brand that you can share out. It's just not tied to one user. This is the streaming setting. So this is more important than the upload defaults. So basic info, you can set up you can set up streams as a schedule, but we don't because the app we use doesn't necessarily work that way. It's simpler just to set up a generic stream. All the coach or the team manager has to do, whoever does the filming, all they have to do is hit live and it goes. And then we can rename it later. So we set up a generic name for them. This just says Norris High School live stream. You can put a description in there. Here, there's a schedule. You can actually schedule your next stream. And there's just a few other things. There's also at the bottom here is your advanced settings. Right? So that's what I'll show you next is the advanced settings. Again, a lot of settings, some different ones, but also a little bit of overlap. You may see, allow DVR. Basically, people can rewind and watch something. They can go back and rewatch something if they want. You're not just stuck watching something live. They can actually go back and watch something in the past, even though it's live, like a DVR. So lots of little settings there. It's kind of quirky. There's some weird things about setting these up. When you go to advanced, you don't necessarily see this on this basic channel, but it's basic info. And so I'll click advanced and then I'll always go back to basic. And the reason I go back to this is there's an area here where you can set up either a Twitter feed or a Google Plus feed. So when you start a stream, it automatically tweets out. It says, you can put whatever you want, but we say, girls soccer is now live, enjoy the match, don't forget to subscribe, or whatever. So you would just check that box, and then you would have to authenticate Twitter to allow that to work with YouTube. Badges and channel banner. There's templates out there. There's actually image editing websites that actually have templates for you that you can go to, but you can find the template, and this is a good template to use if you're versed with Photoshop or something like that, that you can put things where you want, and then when you upload it on for your banner art, it will be in the right spot. So I've given a link to that template right there. Your badge usually comes from your user, everybody has a picture of a user account, but for a brand, you would include something different. So that's important to change. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the apps, or the app we use. And I'm going to let Scott talk a little bit, maybe to just show kind of the things that we use. We use an app called Live to Air Solo, and this is made by Teradek. They have some really, really cool, expensive equipment, but this is completely free, and it works pretty well.
Yeah, it's super easy to set up, and this is a setup you could use on iPods, or when we stream, we use it on 2 iPads, and so our setup is extremely same thing, only much bigger. But yeah, Drew's right. The Live Solo app is so easy. It's easier to set up the live stream than it is for me to set up my iPad to stream from or to record our game through Huddle. It's less steps. And so literally it is. You open the app and you're basically hitting stream. And so you've got your 2 iPads next to each other. We've got our one set up for Huddle, and then we've got our one to our live stream. And so initially, basically, the setup is easy. And then I just emailed our parents, the link to our YouTube page. Said, hey, I'll send you the link. This is the link to our stream. Check it out, and then please subscribe to it because I'm not going to send out the link, for every game. And so once you've got them subscribed, they've got it easily. And then, like Drew said too, it can automatically send out a tweet. So it's easy for parents, grandparents, whoever to get access to it, and it works real slick. And everything is archived. It's there, and it's free. And so it's easy to use, and you can film anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be a basketball game. It can be anything: concert, graduation, in-class projects, whatever you want to do. It's easy to use.
Yeah. The iPads work well I like them a lot. The problem is when you start sticking a couple of these on top of a tripod, they get a little wiggly and jiggly and things like that. That weight adds to it. But I do like using them. With the soccer teams this fall, this spring, we went with the iPods, and they're great, but one thing we didn't think about right away was battery. They die within like 30 minutes. So we just use a rechargeable battery pack that you can buy at about anywhere, $12 or whatever, and then we can plug them in and they'll run off the battery or actually charge while you're doing it. You can actually plug them in too at the same, if you have a cord close, but this works nice because you don't ever know where you're going to be, especially when you go to another team's press box or whatever. It seems to work really well.
Why the two? Are you even reading?
What's that?
Why the two? Are you even reading?
Good question. Why do we have two? Scott mentioned Huddle. Most coaches, they record their game footage on a software called Huddle. That way they can share that footage with other teams, with their players, highlights, things like that. So they will usually, I see a lot of schools, they use an iPad for Huddle. You can also use an iPod for Huddle. So we'll give the coach one of the iPads for Huddle, and then we'll use the one for YouTube. And they like the iPods because they can pack a tripod and iPods and everything in a little bag like this and go. Now, this is a little tripod. We got these little ones we did wrestling. It's nice to get it on the mat and it can be low and it's easy to carry around and they could pick it up. But for basketball, I wouldn't recommend anything this small. Usually we want something pretty substantial. It's
We've got a
little
big,
bit higher.
thick tripod that supports our two iPads. And we've never had issues with the battery on an iPad running out. I mean, we're good
Right,
through our whole game for iPads.
right.
So if you're using an iPod, are you linking it to a Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Yep, both with.
Yeah, and you could use an iPhone too. This works on an iPhone, and you could stream over your LTE or cellular signal. We actually, Norris played in Elkhorn in the state playoff football, and we went and we had everything set up, and I'm getting ready to stream. I hit stream, and it wouldn't work. And I was like, "What's going on?" They block YouTube, so we could not use their wireless network for YouTube. We actually, the guy that was helping me, we actually streamed the game over his data plan. It actually didn't take that much data. I was pretty surprised. Like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Oh, well, it's okay." It actually, it didn't suck up too much of the data. So you can do it. There is another app that you can, it's called Live to Air Remote. You can use this on an iPod or an iPad, and you can have it as a secondary camera, and it works over, they basically are on the same network, and you can have that as an input on your main device. Your main device has to be an iPad though. It can't connect to an iPod. So your main device has to be an iPad. Then you can use an iPod as a secondary camera. Now, this can be, the video can be, it's over Wi-Fi, so it can be a little bit delayed and jumpy and slow, but it might work well for maybe a scoreboard view. If you want to switch to a scoreboard view so you're not having to constantly pan to the scoreboard and back to the action, like at timeouts and things like that, you could switch really fast to this other view and then switch back. Okay, and there's a link to that download there. It works pretty well. It's definitely a little slow.
Question for you, what was the difference between those two?
The Solo is actually what you stream, the main app that you use to stream the video. The remote is like for a remote camera that connects to the Solo app. So you have to run the Solo app, and then you can run the remote to connect to it. You can be a secondary camera. So the app, this is basically what the app looks like, and you can clear the settings away. Basically, you just swipe up, down, left, or right, or you can pull them out and in as work. The top here is your stream settings. You'll set up what they call a RTMP stream. Now this app is supposed to work to set up a YouTube link and have different events that you can make, but I've never really gotten it to work very well with the YouTube plugin that they have. YouTube is always changing their API and stuff like that, so we always just use the RTMP connection. And I'll show you how that works. On the right side over here, there's overlays, and you can add titles. You can actually add a little score bug that they have in there by default. It works, but it's slow. It doesn't work very well. It wouldn't work for basketball, but it works really well for soccer. I think teams don't score a lot. The bottom is your camera settings, and then on the left is some of the video sources. You can load pre-made videos, maybe it's a highlight video, things like that you can switch to, but you also will load just your iOS camera on the device.
So if you have the Air remote, it'll show up on the side as a different video source.
What's that?
If you have Air remote, like at that point of the scoreboard, it'll be behind the video sources.
Right, yeah, exactly. You can load that as a source. Yeah, so she's asking, can you load, if this is your source, if you can load that remote source here, you can click on it and switch to that source. You can't, on this app, you can't have them on at the same time. There is a version of the Pterodactyl makes that you can, but it's paid. You have to pay for it. And it gets a little expensive. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to just do this really fast. I think we got time. This is an iPod or iPad that I set up, and it's already, I got the, let's go back here a second. Well, let's just do this. Oop, that was my internet. Hang on. There it goes. Okay, so this is my personal channel. I've set up a stream on here. So down here, this is where you change your layout of your channel. You can have links right there. So let's go ahead and go to our streaming. So the easiest way to get to a lot of this stuff is you always go up to this video manager. Even though you're really not managing videos, it's just a link to all the different stuff that you're going to use. So we're going to go to that video manager, and then there's a link here on the side that says live stream. We'll just click on that. And down here, this is what the RTMP address is. Is right there. And you'll actually use this code, you reveal the code, and you'll put it into the app. Now you'll see that I'm actually streaming this presentation right now. So I just did that, and it's coming up. But now actually you can see the stream. Anyway, I just went full screen. Okay, so we're streaming this right now. But let's go back to our presentation. I was going to set it up, I was going to show you on this iPad how it works. And I think I set this up right.
Just go out to your homepage and watching your live
Okay, so this is the app. Let me zoom out here a little bit. This is the app, and this is just a video source that I've loaded here that's playing right now that we talked about over here. The iOS camera would be there. I'll show you how to load that. And then so these are some of the graphics we have over here on the right. So if you want to add a graphic, you can just click on it, and it loaded that graphic. You know, we have different ones we can load there, and basically they're just they keep layering up, and you can turn them off and on as you go. Now there is a built-in score. Let's move this one out of the way. So there's a built-in score bug that you can use to change the score, which is kind of quirky, but you have to click and hold on that, and it will bring up the menu for your score, and you can change it. You can actually move it and put it wherever you want on the video. Okay, and you can have different things on at the same time. Now, to close these little panels, you just swipe left or right and open and close them. So we'll go ahead and let's load the camera. So let's flip it over. There's you guys, maybe. Oh, no. That won't work. We'll do the stream and I'll show you. So we'll go ahead and right up here at the top is go live. So we're just going to go live. And it's live now. And let's go ahead and come to this URL here. This is a different one. It says I'm starting at 1:40, but I'm a little ahead of schedule here. And there it goes. So I just started it, and there's your stream. Okay, and we can pick this up. And this is where I can. I switch. There we go. Someday. It's buffering. I'm probably eating up all my bandwidth.
You mentioned a delay on the remote. There's usually a delay on the solo.
There's a delay of about 30 to 40 seconds. Okay, so there we are. Okay?
Oh, you're waiting.
Let's go back to our presentation here. A few more things. Other apps, there is another app, Live to Air. It's more expensive, or it actually costs money, although it's free. There is a trial version of it, but it has a watermark and you're limited on your broadcast time. You can pay $49, remove the watermark from broadcast time. You can go pro version and you get things like picture-in-picture, which you can do a remote scoreboard, have it small in the corner of the window. You can do chroma keying with a green screen or blue screen, whatever you want to do. And they actually have another one where you can pay another $50 and get instant replay, where you can actually record on the device and then you could replay the footage you recorded. There's other apps out there, so just look for the RTMP streaming. These, I've looked a few days ago, this I think is still cream of the crop out there to use. Equipment, so we talked about the iPad, iPod, or iPhone, tripod. Don't try to handhold something. We had wrestling managers that were trying to handhold wrestling matches, and it was just, couldn't watch it. It was horrible. So get a tripod so it's not shaky and makes people sick watching it. Clamps and mounts. Basically, you need a grip or something to clamp onto. They sell these on Amazon or wherever. $8, whatever, not too expensive. They do sell the dual camera mounts on Amazon as well. It's just a bar that you connect two things to. Again, $7 or $8, not too bad. And then charging your battery pack, so you can think about that. If you're using iPods, you'll need to buy a little battery pack. They come with the cords, you don't have to worry about that. Another $12. Okay. Now, advanced. So if you want to add audio, you can. Things to think about is microphones or headsets, maybe a mixer if you have more than one person, and then microphone adapter. So this is a little microphone adapter. You plug this into your iPod or iPad, and it has either an XLR or a 1/4-inch phone plug that you would run either from a mixer or directly from a microphone. There's some different settings on there that you can change, whether if you're using a mixer or a microphone. It actually is battery powered, so it has phantom power. You don't have to worry about that. Just little things to think about. More advanced equipment. Our school actually has what we call a new Tech TriCaster Mini. That's what I'm running on this in this box. And we can switch video. We can have different cameras. We can have overlays with scoreboards that are tied directly to our Datronic scoreboard. You can do instant replay. You can record what you're streaming on your device and do a replay of it. So you can do lots of things. It just depends on how much you want to spend and how much you want to play. You can actually set up iPads to be like remote keyer or switchers and things like that. So you can have buttons on your iPad and you can push buttons to switch your inputs and things like that. Some pretty cool stuff out there. Any questions? Yeah.
So you're using this instead of like laptop webcam mobility, is that correct?
This
Yeah.
Yeah, why not just use the laptop with a,
with a webcam,
yeah,
you could.
with mobility?
Most coaches won't do that. So yeah, the reason I would say, I don't know, maybe 75 to 90% of the coaches already use iPads and have a tripod that they use at every game, and we're just hitching a ride. Basically, that's the hardest thing about this for me is getting people that want to help do it. It takes time, but if you have a coach or a manager that's already recording video, we can attach onto that, or we can put a little iPod on it and just teach them. All you have to do is hit live, and there you're done. You don't have to get anybody else. You can go, away games. I don't have to go to any away games. They'll do that, things like that. A lot of times with Huddle, they're already panning up to the scoreboard and things like that, so they know on their video what the score is once in a while. So when they're doing it, it does it on ours too because they're tied together. Whatever it sees, ours sees. So yeah, you could use a laptop, but this is just a way to get more coverage. Anybody else?
Yeah, so how do you connect your YouTube account to the app?
Oh, good question. So, back to this. So we talked about the stream settings. Up here at the top, there's this little gear, and you'll set up a destination, they call it. So you'll click on this little gear, and you'll get a pop-up that says broadcast destination. Now, we can click on that, and let's just go to manage destinations. And let's say add. We're not going to add, but we can say it. And you'll see that this app actually has different ones built in. And YouTube is one of them, but I really can't get it to work consistently. The RTMP works, so that's what we use. We use the custom RTMP. So we click on that, and then We'll click on it here. And basically, this is where you put in your URL and your stream key. So I'll have to change my stream key, now everybody's seen it. No big deal. So if you come over to your YouTube channel, so we'll click on YouTube. Channel. Maybe. There we go. Video manager again. It's kind of my button I always click to get to the stuff I need. Slow. And live stream. And that's here at the bottom, and it's basic info. That's where you're getting this encoder set up down here. That's where you're getting that information. You're basically just copying and pasting that into here, or typing it in. And sometimes, a lot of times, what I'll do is I'll create a text file that I'll put all of them on, and then I'll sync them to the iPad or just send them to the iPads, and they'll be on the iPad, and I can copy and paste them real easily. But that's where it goes. How much time do we have?
8 minutes.
Do you want to check these questions or anything? If you can submit any questions on your phone. We can go through and set one up really fast. See if there's any other questions that people submitted. Nope.
We answered it. Now, the cool thing is you could stream anything. Like if you've looked at, and we've been kind of looking at like Strive in comparison to what they're offering, which is awesome. But they're typically looking at, if you get their basic package, they're doing varsity events only, and then varsity athletic events, and then you get 10 other special events. When you go in here, this is unlimited. You could do any sort of thing. Each grade level could have their own channel and do anything. You could have, a channel for each class period for presentations that can stream on live. So grandpa and grandma, mom and dad can see whatever it is you want to do. So the possibilities of YouTube streaming, the price is right, and there's no limitations on what it is you can stream. So I think that's just a really good feature that YouTube that we've kind of capitalized on here is pretty sweet.
So he brought up a couple good points. So one thing is playlists, and so if you go to your video manager, you can actually click on playlists, and I give a title to my videos, my live stream, and if I click on my playlist here, you can set this up. I'm going to edit the playlist, and we're going to say playlist settings. So you get a playlist settings, and I didn't include this in the presentation, I kind of forgot about it, but I do an auto add, so I'm on the description contains, I'm basically copied and pasted the title that I use for the stream. So if it contains that title, which it will, because that's the name of my stream, it will automatically put them in this playlist. Now each year I would have to change that, so it goes to different playlists. But it automatically goes to the playlist, and then you can embed those playlists on school websites and things like that. The other thing you brought up, so they're archived. All the streams are archived, but you can, on one of the settings, so if we go back to our video manager, Carlson here. We're going to go to our video manager, and we can actually set up, you can have a checkbox to say it's unlisted once you're done broadcasting. Once you've gone off live, it becomes unlisted. And you can actually turn it, and then you can turn them on to private if you want. Okay. How do you link the app? Okay, so we answered that one. you already have one channel made, can I move my video to a different channel and not mess up the link so I can organize per class? The best way to do that, I think, is to create playlists. So that's what, I mean, in my art classes or my multimedia design class, I create lots of playlists. I'm constantly going and finding other people's content, and I add it to a playlist, and then I link that playlist in Google Classroom or on my website or whatever. So I think playlist is a great way. So you could download the video, if it's your video, you could download it, and you could re-upload it to a different channel. But the question was, will it change? It would change the URL. It would be the same video. Anybody else? Any other questions? About out of time.
Yeah. Oh,
What
yeah.
kind of things do you use for your art class?
For streaming, I don't. Like I said, I'm the webmaster for our school, and I just kind of, it's an interest of mine, and just play with it and mess with it and get kids, try to get kids involved with it. It's really pretty easy. Just setting up the channel is the main thing. Using that key, putting it in the app, hitting live, you're good to go. You can always get more advanced. There's always something you can add, and I tend to overcomplicate things.
How often do you use the microphone? How good is the audio if you don't use the microphone?
It does have, I mean, you can use the microphones on the app or the iPod. Typically we don't. We always mute the audio because a lot of times we're in a coach's booth or something like that, and they're making comments on the play or whatever. You've heard what people say in a bus on. So we usually mute the audio. This would be something where you have a headset and you have people that are dedicated to announcing. They got that microphone right in front of their face, and you only hear what they're saying. We typically never use the microphone on the iPod. For wrestling, we had parents kind of request that they did because it was just so quiet in the wrestling matches. It's people yelling loud. It just kind of adds to the atmosphere. And typically when they're on the mat, it's so much different stuff that there's not one specific thing that they can hear. So for wrestling, we would use the microphone, but for football, basketball, things like that, we don't unless we have a announcer that we can use something like this to use a headset.
All right. Well, thanks for coming. If you have any questions, please let us know.
All right, so our college uses live stream already, but the biggest complaint they have is that you don't see the score.
Yep.
So with this app, I saw that it works with live stream. So, so this app would be a good one then to show the score? and
Yeah,
whatnot?
actually, if you're willing to spend some money, the other one, which I
sports.
didn't show.
The sportscast one?
No, well, it's just called Air. It's just called Live to Air,
Okay.
and I wish I would have shown this one, but we didn't.
Please send us another session and recommend. Do you guys have a link for the actual?
I saw the email on there. Ooh, we got it. Hang on, I got to kill
Feedback.
this. I don't want to